Hello everyone, I am Tacit and welcome to the Gems of War Campaign 19, Week 8, Day 4. So today, game plan is probably a lot of PvP. We have the whole booster kind of sitting here, which I guess we could use at any point, but I don't know, I figured we'd throw it down today. This weekend we're going to be having well, two things technically. The new Mythic that's coming out, we'll be covering a video for that as early as we can tomorrow. And the other thing we're going to be getting is the faction. A new, well, not a new faction, but a new deep delve variant of a faction with a new troop coming in. Fortunately, new troop has a boost ratio kind of similar to Rowain, but ultimately is going to be quite a bit weaker than it. I don't really see much of a use case for it, unfortunately, even in the context of like 4 times of the kingdom thingy. Though, I don't know, maybe we'll get some usage in it. But I'm trying to think about what the other damage sources were, but I could have sworn one of them was not necessarily better, but the utility that it overall gives is better. Oh, I was hoping we get to play Guess the Door. We haven't gotten to do Guess the Door for a while. Oh, no. Oh, no. I won't switch it for Death Mark and a few of the other ones, but yeah, we are definitely switching it for Silence. But anyways, hello, everyone. Hello, Mark. Hello, Isabel. Hello, Jets. Hello, Draco. Hello, Cookie. Hello, everyone else. Alright, no one got cleansed. That's unfortunate. Hey, we didn't have these skulls yesterday, did we? The clown skulls. The good old clowns. It's like International Clown Day week something? I don't know. Something clown related. I said hello, Imperial! Welcome, welcome. I didn't even see that. Nice. Oh wait, I'm trying to feed mana into nothing. Any upcoming pet codes? I haven't gotten them for August yet. I don't think I did. When I checked earlier, I didn't. Though around this time is around the time of day when she would hand it out, though. I can go recheck Discord real quick, I guess. Well, last I checked, I did not have this month's codes yet. But we likely will get them in the next few days. Hopefully soon. Actually, I should probably go poke her. I haven't actually messaged her. I kind of just assumed she, you know, would get to it as she normally does, but, I'll go open Discord real quick. Let's see. Is Discord open? No, I have not gotten them yet. I do not have them. Also, where did my streaming software go? There we are. Anyways. But yeah, I didn't get the codes yet. Soon, TM. Alright, dungeon completed. We can go to a real banner now. Tower of Doom has been completed since last night. Pretty free. Worked out really well. And we can even claim auto loot, which I didn't bother doing earlier. Did we get anything good? Got a purple. And a blue. Major blue. So overall, not the greatest, but could have been worse. Do we have to do all these? No, we just have to do mini bosses. Okay, let me just take the rich real quick then. Actually, I might even take the gold. That amount of gold is actually not bad. Still don't Ossifer? Oh no! Yeah, he's a, well, you can get really dry on one of them. Like with anything. The only problem is if you, there's like a cap to how many marks you can get in a given season. And it is actually possible to get unlucky enough that you won't be able to get him season 1. Well, unless you get absurdly unlucky, you would be able to by the next PvP season. Yeah, it is technically possible to get that unlucky. Or even if you do like every objective, you don't get to it. Especially on the free side, of course. But even on the paid side, that can happen. You just have to get extra unlucky. I think the lowest amount of rolls I had for any of them was like 2 or 3. But that was with the paid side. I said hello, Laundry Slayer. Hello, Henry. Hello, Imperial. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to building some teams for the new Mythic tomorrow. Hope to cover that tonight. Though I say that, I might crash tonight and it might be up later, but I hope to cover it tonight. After a stream, I'm probably just gonna take a little nap. It's already 8. But I'm still a little hungry. That's the only problem with eating at an all-you-can-eat place yesterday, which I haven't done in like absurdly long amount of time, is now even like a normal amount of food today doesn't feel like enough. Might need to go to just not eating anything for a day or two. Get back to normal. Alright, let me take out Cinema Mirage. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a quick kill dust level. You had Burger King, nice. I had a really good walk today. Something about the weather today was just really nice. Well, at least before the thunderstorm hit, but I walked before then. It's really weird because in the same day, it was like over 100 degrees, but also like went down by at least like 20, 30 when it was downpouring. Because it got all cloudy and then rain. I never really noticed how humid it is some days down here. After going to New Jersey, you really notice the difference. Because even on days when they're both around the same temperature, this area is just so much more humid. This is a bad choice. Do we want 10 pieces of toilet paper or 10 food that we're never going to feed to anything? I will take the 10 food just because maps currently do nothing. And you can also infinitely buy maps. You cannot infinitely buy food. You walk and run thousands of miles in Pally? Actually, we'll do Pally again this Sunday. We did last Sunday too. I'll do it again this Sunday. I want to try getting to base 10s this Sunday, I think. It seems like a good stepping stone to completion. I need to make more storyline progress. I keep not doing storyline. But that's always my issue in that game. I feel like I keep getting distracted by everything and never doing the storyline for the game. What am I doing? I am looking for the team we mentioned on the weekly video. What did I mention? Okay, I just did a basic link team. That's fine. Oh, you know why I did this? Because we have access to beasts, and our options for beasts are kind of clunky. I just wonder why this team is just that, but yeah, that's kind of all we have. And we can use Black Manacle. Though, out of curiosity, what was the other link color? Because I might run the ruby weapon. Actually, wait, the ruby weapon does use brown, doesn't it? It does. Alright, and then we just change our banner, class, all that. Go with like a Titan or something. Go for brown, red, I guess. Doesn't really matter what the second color is as long as it's not minusing us. And that should be good to go. Yeah, Ruby Weapon, I believe this becomes free to play in about a month and a half. I believe late September. So the end of next month, I believe this weapon will be available. I've been trying not to show it in any kind of team builds, but I've been using it increasingly more, as we are getting increasingly closer to the time where everyone will be able to get it. So hello, Sushi Ninja! Nah, I haven't been on a bike for in a while. I know you're making an analogy, but I'm taking it literally. Honestly, I haven't biked much since New Jersey. Where I actually used to ride up and down. Actually, Isabel, you know where it is. We were there. That entire boardwalk that we were at, when we went to the sawmill in New Jersey, I would bike all the way up and down that area. All the way from one end to the other. Yeah, that's where I used to bike. Not always, but it was like my favorite biking spot. Because then you go to the sawmill before or after. So it works out nicely. I don't know, I haven't really biked much since I've been in South Carolina. There's not that many good areas to do it in. And even though this place doesn't feel like a city, it does when it comes to biking. Because there's a lot of very condensed, busy roads. And it doesn't really have biking paths anywhere. And that combination makes it kind of hard to ever bike anywhere. As you basically have to ride your bike as a car. Which is very annoying. Since they don't have proper paths or anything. Oh, do we have any way we could put stun in this team? We need to get rid of the 100% revive guy. It's always annoying when we have to deal with him on a given cycle. A lot of times there's just not much you can do about it, other than just kill him twice. Luckily you only have to kill him 8 times, technically. For all 4 sets. It's weird because I only feel like he's there like a third of the time. But when he is there, he's kind of annoying. Why is my brain processing a 5 times here even though it's very much not there? Because there's a 5 times there. There we go. It was the blue that was the 5 times, even though it was just a checkerboard pattern. I said hello, Outlander! Welcome, welcome. There goes the revive. Luckily, this thing just gains all of its mana back pretty much every cast. It's amazing how much 5 explodes do. Originally in that 5 explode category, I would say Zachi was kind of like the main one that really started to make it viable. Though this is by far the most viable 5 explode option in the entire game. With one of its biggest benefits not just being the amount of true damage that it does, but it's the highest amount of true damage on any hero weapon and its hero weapon. Which are 2 very big things. The fact that it's highest damage for on hero weapon, but also just the fact that it is a hero weapon. Because of course that opens up using it with any of the hero classes. Which is very strong. And hey, free gold. It's basically like casting Leprechaun whenever you cast it. It's not as guaranteed that you get the gold, but it's pretty guaranteed. The chance that you land is pretty high. Yeah, it's a little loopy. Not the greatest. Depends on board state, but I would say it has like a 30-ish% chance to extra turn per cast. Give or take current board state. And or if there is storm. There we go, all the Val Ravens we need now. Wait, do we just get back-to-back Val Raven? So if we get another one right near the end there, then we can go super buff for the final fight. Ultimately, I'm not sure that's going to save much time, because I think we're already at one-shot range, which is kind of funny. This is the final section, right? Yeah, it is. Wow, this thing's damage range is actually kind of insane. Hello, Ginky! Welcome, welcome. Oh, you're one battle too late. I can't use it now. What am I supposed to do with that? Oh, there we go. 25 gems in the knick-knack stuff. Hey, war coins. I bought it almost every time. I really need to stop because they're completely pointless. Also, hello, Bill Warhammer. Welcome, welcome. There was a point where they were useful. We are far past that point. Yeah, we did that, we did that, we did that, we did that. That's been completely finished. Gosh, everything is done but PvP already, pretty much. And I think I'm skipping the Underspire just for today. I will, of course, still buy the torches. Should be careful. We're almost overbuying at this point. We have really good pathing. We got 2 perfects in a row. That might be the last day I have to double as long as our pathing for the rest of them is kind of nice. Alright, we did that. We did that. Yeah, everything's done. If we're skipping Underspire, PvP is literally the only thing left. Which is good, because we plan to do a whole hour of it. So let's get started. Alright, let me go activate every boost. Actually, is there any objectives I have to do today? Today is what? Thursday. Which means no. Yeah, there isn't anywhere that we have to do fights then. Just making sure. Oh, wait. Don't we still have the... Yeah, we still have to do the other fight, though. But there's no gold mark fights. It's either dragon or goblin. And I would say dragon is probably freer. And we get silver marks for doing it. So let's go do it. Alright, do I already have a team built? Perfect. Alright, we're using Quick Heal Stellarix with Wand, Empower, or 50% into Empower. Yeah, nice. Team's still here. Alright, we're just gonna roll here. We get 25 free silver marks for it, and it's quicker. Even out Stellarix, I'm pretty sure it's still quicker. Well, that's because the mana accumulation base is not awful. 50% mana start to your whole team plus Empower into yellow. Of course, it does assume that your main damage source uses yellow. Hey, Curse Gnome. Actually, I was gonna say, I shouldn't take Dragon Soul because it has resummon on it. But, it's not that big a deal. Oh, too bad it didn't get replaced by a Glory Gnome. That would have been perfect. But yeah, it likely revives here. It's not guaranteed, though. But of course, the chance is so high, it's pretty much gonna happen. And you transform into Divinia. Really good support if I had any team left to support. It's actually stronger than the support Immortal that came out. That was supposed to be, you know, usable. But that thing's stronger than it. Not only does it apply the buff also to itself, but has 4 times cleanse as well. 4 times cleanse, 4 times HP gain, mass explode. Doesn't have any damage output. Oh, nice. We got 1,000 glory from the Glory Gnome. But the support that it does do is really good. Plus it has random stats effect on its final trait. And it was also the OG original one to have that. We've gotten that through like a billion tarot cards these days and a few other things. But Divinia was actually the original thing to have random stats effect to allies. And at the time was a pretty big deal. These days that's a bit less relevant. But at the time it was pretty solid. And it's still good to this day. There's a lot of alternatives now compared to back then. And there we go. Battle completed. Alright. Now we could just spam one single location the entire time. We could either do purple for Blood Frenzy or middle. And you know where we're going. Hello, middle. Actually, how are we doing on ladder? How's ladder doing? We have one tryhard. But I like our odds for where it's currently at. That's actually not too bad at all. 24k. Like 30k by the end of the week. Where are we at right now? We're at 8.4k. Unfortunately, I didn't claim the other 1,000. I don't know, let's go run it. Don't need to do anything special. Let's just go get our hour booster. Oh yeah, I should have handed out a code before I did that. Well, I'll hand it out in the in-between screens. Get an hour of XP going. We already did that, right? Yep. Alright, get the hour of the other thing. Of course, that brings us to 8,400, which is why I was saying that earlier. If any of you were wondering why I said the number is 1,000 higher. It's because it is. We just didn't claim the 1,000 yet. Unfortunately, I let it expire over and didn't claim the 2,000 from it, but we'll take the 1,000. And yeah, now we'll just grind a PvP for an hour. With the team, the good old Stellarix build. Also, let me try to get you guys the code in between every single one of these battles. I will get one step closer between every fight. Until I hand out the code. Also, I only have 2 codes left, today and tomorrow, so hopefully, not Kafka, what's her name? Not Genki. Why do I always forget her name? Jetto. Hopefully Jetto gives us more codes tomorrow. Now that we're the only one she has to make codes for. Oops, I just clicked undo. Wait. Oops, now I'm wasting time. There. Alright, there you guys go. Enjoy. I need to go contact her. I didn't say Cheeto, I said Jetto. See, that's why we need a new mic. I don't know, do I just slur my words that much? I'm not sure. I feel like I somehow have gotten worse at talking over time rather than better. I feel like initially I got better, but then started getting worse. Jello? I haven't had Jello in a while. I saw it at the all-you-can-eat place, but I didn't bother. Because obviously it's just like basic Jello. Gotta go for good Jello. If you're gonna have some Jello. Oh, it's just a joke? Okay. I don't know, I'm not a big Jello person. Which is really weird because I like chewy candy a lot. But I never really got into Jello. Has to be some really good quality Jello for me to eat Jello. It's all the dental work, I'm sure, yeah. That definitely has had some effect on it for sure. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I'm getting a cleaning at the end of this month too. I almost forgot about that. I forgot what day it's on. I need to double check. I know it's late August. I have a couple medical things this month. Oddly enough, they're all this month. No other date, just this month. After that, I shouldn't have anything medical related for the rest of the year. Unless something pops up. Hello, Lester! Welcome, welcome. I was spam clicking the ability, not realizing I didn't click it initially. said hello, DM Smith. Welcome, welcome. No problem for the code. Yeah, hopefully we'll have some more soon. I have enough for tomorrow to hand out one, and then I have none left. But normally we get them at the beginning of the month, and it is the first of the month. Actually, I don't think I mentioned that a single time to stream, but you guys know by now. It's finally August 1st. It doesn't feel like the first, gosh. The month went by so quick. Hey, this year's already more than half over. You know what I should start trying to figure out soon if we're going to bother this year? Because I feel like every single year for the last several years, when it comes to Halloween, I start thinking about it like right when Halloween is like about to hit. And then I never get anything to wear for Halloween. I just never know what to look for or what to go for. I should probably, if I am going to bother doing something, start looking now. Because pretty much every time I ever think about it, it's already so late near Halloween. It's like, it's not even worth going out of my way for at this point. I'll take that one down. No, 1 mana short. That's so unfortunate. We don't even have a good follow-up either. So when are they removing Elementalists from PvP? Gosh, I hate that final trait so much. I'm still surprised they never nerfed it. Out of all the things to never receive a nerf, I'm even more surprised that that didn't compared to like Stellaryx or something. As I think a lot of things feeling like that they're broken is rooted in Elementalist's final trait being broken. Because the biggest issue with Elementalist's final trait is it makes it so you can't skull meta. It basically prevents it while he exists, your, Elementalist being good. It basically prevents a skull meta from ever reforming in the game for the most part. Unless they are formed around those new immortals because they have invulnerable. But anything that doesn't have invulnerable will never be able to make a proper skull team due to Elementalist existing. Which is very problematic. It basically means you have to cast spam. Stellaryx just makes that more obvious, the issue. But, it's actually Elementalist doing a lot of that carrying. Because it's not that... It basically makes every team that could be skulls a lot worse. Whereas things like Stellaryx and Takshak are pretty much unaffected by it. Obviously, they're still affected by the freeze and everything. But they're not affected by it in the sense that... like, most of the benefit that you get from it doesn't apply to them. Or most of the downside it applies to them. Because you're not going to need to worry about the entangle at all. It does basically nothing. The stun, if you have invulnerable, of course, going to do nothing. It just basically takes away everything that you would otherwise need. Because Skull Troops need all of that. They need their traits in order to do their multiple extra damage. They needed to be not entangled, so they actually have some amount of attack value. They obviously don't want to be frozen, so you can actually extra turn from skulls. And what was the other effect? Burn? I guess they don't care about burn too much, but... like, all three of the other effects affect them so much. Is that Mr. Z's new name? I have no clue. I don't keep track with it these days. Yeah, Wand of Stars is pretty insane. Out of everything that's really broken right now, I would say the biggest four are Elementalist Hero class existing, mostly its final trait. And they're all used together too, which is like the crazy thing. But the strongest thing in the entire game is Elementalist, Stellarex, Wand, and Takshaka. Basically this entire team. Elementalist's final trait is way too overtuned and has been. Stellarex, after its buff, has too much damage. Wand has too much utility. And Takshaka is basically just better Leprechaun. Which doesn't necessarily need a nerf, but it would definitely be something to keep an eye on after the rest of the game gets rebalanced. It's really strong, but it's not necessarily nerf-worthy. It's just the things that it synergizes with makes it feel like it kind of needs it, even though it's probably fine as is. Who's that? He does sound very mysterious and handsome, though. I feel like Mr. Z has a new name every month. Who's Mr. Z? Sounds like someone Tacit would ignore. Well, he changed his name to something I can't even really say on YouTube, I don't feel like. Which is kind of making me ignore him in the sense that I can't actually even really say his name. So he changed his name to something that I almost actively have to ignore. He doesn't ignore you, so you can't be him. I think it's the red icon that catches my attention. Maybe you should make your icon into just a red dot. Just one gigantic red square that then becomes a dot because it makes it into little circle thingies on YouTube. Or at least what I'm viewing it for. I think it's on your guys' side, it's a circle as well. That's something I've been wanting to change with this channel for a while. It's just a lot of the visuals. Since we're already doing all the emotes, I kind of want to go and change my banner and everything else too. Like our thing that we have at the top of our YouTube and our profile icon. Also, I was mentioning a long while back, I've been considering changing the channel to Tacit Gaming, and then we're like, oh, we'll keep it as Tacit Terror. But honestly, I'm considering just making it Tacit Gaming. We were pondering that around pandemic time. And then I opted not to. But I'm opting to again, I think. It would need a full rebrand for everything, though. Not like a rebrand, but you know. It would make sense to do it coinciding a bunch of visual changes. I know, we need to find someone to work on it. Someone different than who's doing the icons, though. I was not sure who. And I kind of don't want to hire someone from Fiverr if I can help it. I've had very mixed experiences on Fiverr, that's for sure. I could also make them myself. My entire banner I actually made. The profile icon I didn't. But the entirety of the banner I did. Aside from a few assets that were used in it. Though half the assets I did make myself. It's too small to see what it is. Oh, I have it zoomed up. I have my chat set to like 150%. Anything bigger than that, a few chats will just go by like so quick. Yeah, I always keep YouTube zoomed in at 150% when reading chat. Mostly because default size is pretty small. Oh gosh, Mr. Z's making jokes about things. So we still have like more than half our booster, right? Yeah. Now we're 15 minutes down. Let me do some math real quick. So that means we have almost until 9:30. Then we'll probably grab a quick bite, grab a nap, and we'll go cover the Mythic video in the morning. Very early morning. Ideally around reset time morning. So Defiant, welcome, welcome. I'm really curious to see how the Mythic coming out tomorrow pans out. It's not like anything too crazy. Like, it's going to be used, but it's not going to be used a lot. It's one of those utility troops that isn't pointless, but it'll be very situational when you do bring it up. Does anyone know the lore for the Geoff is a legend achievement? Some guy called Geoff. I'm not sure what he does. But some guy called Geoff ended up tweeting about like completing the game or something. I don't remember. For Gems of War. So they ended up adding an achievement that would be absurdly hard. And called it that. And I would say it is still one of the hardest achievements in the game still. Not the hardest, but it is on the harder side. And was the hardest back then. Yeah, I forget who Geoff even is. But someone relevant enough that they made a thing about it. Oh, is he an achievement hunter? It's kind of weird. Even though I'm quite a completionist when it comes to most games I play, I don't really think I watch any completionist-based channels, ever. Like achievement hunting channels for various things. Also, didn't the guy called the completionist get canceled? Wasn't he in like multiple layers of controversy? I'm not sure if he still does anything anymore. I think I saw a couple of his videos like ages upon ages back. I never really watched him. All these wild cards, and we can barely use them for anything. There we go. feels weird clicking on the Diamantina team as the weaker team. 2 years ago, you would have done that. The game has shifted. Same as Zolgoth. I actually click on Zolgoth as the weak team normally. Despite it still being one of the strongest 10 troops in the entire game. Of course. The freeze landed on the one thing I needed not to be frozen. Because the skull there. Don't do it. Even if you did, we would have been fine, but would have been annoying. Because I think I would have had to wand solo kill it. I was not sure why I picked this team. This is actually the strongest of the three. Infinite Loop Truffle. I guess Freeze does help. We're using Elementalists right now. Why am I using Elementalists? Don't you want to be using like Mech or something? Not like our Freeze did anything anyways. I would like them to not get a turn, please. Or I would like a turn, I mean. Sometime today. We only have Takshaka left. Not gonna be able to do enough with his one turn. Alright, now we have no mana. So we have to skull. Yeah, let me just take a sip of water while we're waiting. Oh, hey, our turn ended. How convenient. Right when I'm about to go do something, it's like, nope. Oh, well, we're silenced on everything. Hey, skull. Alright, let's go back to waiting again. I'm not sure why I'm trying to win this fight. I'm more so curious as to how long it'll take for it to win. Good water break. And this is why Truffle technically has infinite damage. Personally, more of a fan of double Truffle because it's a little bit quicker. But single Truffle teams have even more infinite loop than double Truffle. Even though double Truffle is pretty much already infinite. The problem with double Truffle is you need to be not pure Goblin for it to work. Which in a pure Goblin restriction you cannot do. In all fairness, we're doing Central right now. You can use anything here. What's that one, newer Mythic? Was this last month's Mythic? I think it might have been. It was either last month or the month before we got this wolf. Who wants 50% mana start to goblins? Honestly, I wish they would. All they have to do is make its ability bad. And 50% mana start would be balanced. They just have to make it as bad as the Sensia. Make its ability literally just like summon a goblin or something. But no, 50% mana start to goblins wouldn't be that broken as long as they make the troop it's associated with really bad. Essentially like an Essentia that makes a team of 3 versus 4. I do personally wish every single typing had a 50% mana start. Because it's still weird that only like 2/3 currently do. And one of them has a 40% instead of 50%. Which probably throws me more off than anything. They still never unnerfed Divines. Despite Divines being pretty underwhelming in the current state of the game. Ignore this troop. If you pretend Takshaka doesn't exist, Divines are not that great right now. You just have to ignore their strongest option currently. And they're pretty weak. In all fairness, you would never use a Divine Ishbala with a Takshaka. They just don't have team synergy together, like other Divines do with Divine Ishbala. That's a lot of convert. Oh, it should be at about the halfway mark. I do want to check. How much PvP rating do we have? It should be around 10k right now. 10 or 11k. Probably close to 11k. I could check. Oh, wow. 12. Okay. That's not bad. Let's keep going. You mean a troop that gave them all 50? That'd be worse than Stellarix? No, I didn't mean like everything in the game. I just meant 50% for each, you know, typing. But no, Goblin teams are pretty easily countered normally. You freeze them once and they lose. The problem is when you don't freeze them once. I think there's only like 1 or 2 goblins in the entire game that even have immune to freeze. And despite being really extra turn spammy, they do not have access to Hourglass gems, at least currently. Though that'd be kind of insane if they ever do get access to it, though. An Hourglass gem goblin. With auto extra turn into a goblin, into a Hourglass mechanic. Basically an alternative version of Daughter of Time. But goblin. Now that would be broken. It's kind of weird. I feel like Daughter of Time doesn't have too many use cases. There are so many different team types that it allows she basically allows you to be able to use. Yet I feel like it is never worth using her. Like there are so many teams that you can build now because she exists. But because everything else is so much quicker, you basically never do it. Because she's just too slow to bother with. It's unfortunate because there's a lot of mass destroy teams and similar things, mass explodes. Basically anything that has like any amount of destroy or explode that's like targeted. You could basically make into an infinite loop troop now with Daughter of Time. It's just a natural practice, it's not practical. Even though in premise it's among one of the strongest troops in the game. There's not a realistic use case for it in the current state of the game though a lot of times. It's too slow. At least relative to this. Relative to a team like this. I feel like if we're like early game or mid game, maybe we'd use Daughter of Time a lot more. But she just doesn't fit into the strongest things in the entire game's kind of team. I guess to some degree you could replace out one Takshaka for it, but then you're completely sacrificing your starting mana. At which point you're better off with Leprechaun, but then you don't have good single targets, so now you kind of have to structure something else. And what would you remove from there? You'd remove Daughter of Time. So at that point you just have a completely different team that doesn't even use Daughter of Time anymore, even though you were trying to use Daughter of Time, but you basically got phased out because you had to phase something else out that ended up phasing her out from having to phase so many options out. And then your team no longer even has Daughter of Time in it, even though it's a Daughter of Time team. That's the problem with Daughter of Time. She's really replaceable. Even though she's really unique and nothing in the entire game does it quite like she does. She's very replaceable in the sense that there's other ways to get to the same premise. Not to do the exact kind of thing that she could do, but as far as just mana accumulation and stuff like that. Her biggest issue is probably just no follow-up in the sense that she doesn't really give support, she doesn't really give damage. She kind of just does mana and allows you to extra turn spam. But if you already have teams that can extra turn spam, why make something that's not an extra turn team into an extra turn team? We could just grab something that's already an extra turn team and just use that. That's probably her biggest issue. She's trying to solve an issue that, like, it's already solved. She's a solution to an issue that's already solved. It's still weird, though, because there's so many teams that you could build with her that are unique that can't be built in any other way other than her. But it's just not practical. I don't know. I will see some kind of use case for her in the future. As it currently stands, it is absurdly situational. And other mana accumulators just beat it out too much. Maybe something like this Beatrix. Like how much extra turn potential it just has in one single unit while also damage pressuring. While also having cleanse, so it's even support as well. Just there's too much competition for things that do a similar role but better. Not exactly the same, but enough so that she never gets used. Princess Fizz. Why do I forget which one Princess Fizz is? I slightly forget. Is that one of the goblins? Sounds like a goblin. Fizzbang. Oh, is that one blue-purple goblin that was really broken upon release? Then they nerfed it into the ground and it was almost never used again. I can't remember exactly what she did pre-nerf. But I know for about a week or slightly less, it made her the strongest troop in the entire game. I can't remember exactly what it was, though. I think she might have been doing both sides of her ability, guaranteed, I think. She's like an either-or that you don't get to choose. It's one of those or mechanics. Or, you know, it does either one or the other, but you don't get to choose which one it does. Because that mechanic wasn't coded into the game at the time. But, I believe at launch she did both of them while auto-extra turning. I think was the issue with her. But yeah, she used to be really good. But that was because both sides of her abilities were triggering every time. But then they fixed it and she became, I wouldn't say useless, just generally not worth using in a 4x goblin team. She still was here and there because goblins were still pretty popular back then, so any new goblin was just like, ooh, something shiny to use. But, I don't know, after the nerf, she never really was that good again. I still can never get over clicking Zolgoth teams as the weak team. I still can't fully process that. Clicking one of the strongest troops in the entire game as the weak team. That just shows how much skulls have fallen. I say that as we're actually being destroyed by Web Skull right now. So that's a kingdom I'm surprised never got more skull options. Zolkiri. Zolkiri way back. We're talking like 2014, early 2015. Like almost 10 years ago. Actually had the highest attack in the game of any troop, Tyree. And it was always a kingdom that had a above average overall attack value on all their units. Especially early on in the game where that really mattered. And the weird thing is, just still to this day, like, you even got Web Spinner and stuff, but way down the line with, you know, triple damage, which originally only did to poison, but then did it to poison and web, which made it, like, absurd. But they've never really given Zolkiri the skull options it needs to function, which I never really understood. It always seemed like this place that was, like, anti-magic because all the web and everything that came down later down the line and the mana drains it already had when it launched and everything. It always seemed like this anti-magic place that would also have skull options. Almost like how Silent One is, but, you know, as a kingdom. But they never expanded on any of the skull stuff, which I always found kind of strange. The closest they ever got was, like, triple damage Web Spinner on both poison and web when it got the web buff and everything. But it never got skull options. Like, there's not a proper skull team that you can build out of Zolkiri that specifically creates skulls. Which always felt like a big missed opportunity there. You never know, they might get one eventually. But it always seemed like one of those places that should have a proper skull spam team, but then never did. You don't have Justice Terror? When did it come into the game? I'm not sure if it's in drop table yet. Isn't that one of the more recent ones? Wait, is Justice Terror this season? Or was that last season? There's a potential that it's actually this season, which is why you might see it in the game. Because it technically came out this Monday for people who have the extended pass. Or on Monday this week or next week, if you have the normal pass. But if you see that in your unowned, it could be that. Because yeah, is that this season's Terror? It was either this season's or last season's. I don't remember which. Yeah, I don't really keep track of them much. Mostly because we auto have them all already. Well, not auto, but you know. Since we do go for all the passes and everything. Which reminds me, did I even buy this season's pass? I don't think I have. I need to go do that. Because I'm pretty sure I did not click the buy pass button yet. I should have about 15 minutes left on this booster. Have a good check. That should be about 15-ish. Should have got a timer going to go with the hour timer. Oh well. We have 20-ish minutes. Perfect. Now let me go check. What are we at right now? Or get in there. I didn't have any plans to overtake it today though. But as long as they don't go too crazy, I do want to overtake it by the end of the week, if we can. But the intention was never to take it today. I just wanted to get the hour boost grind in. The weekly booster grind. I always do it in PvP these days. You could actually do it anywheres, but I don't know, I've been opting for PvP. Maybe one week we'll finally go do it in Explore 12 or something. I've been meaning to go do more Explore 12 because we're actually getting really low on a lot of tokens. Maybe that's a stream we'll need to do at some point. A stream of nothing but Explore 12. I feel like it would drive me crazy after 3 hours. I can't remember the last time I've power grind Explore 12. That's not ideal. Though surprisingly not a problem. Stellarx's reductions really carry it sometimes. A 55% spell reduction with 30% score reduction. I never think of it as a tank, because it doesn't have all the issues that a standard tank mythic generally has in the game. But he basically is a tank mythic. Just with none of the issues that any other tank mythic has. Something I always keep forgetting about the troop is one of the few high spell reductions in the entire game, combined with a half-decent score reduction. Much actually a lower end score reduction, but having any score reduction at all paired with how much spell reduction it has is pretty nice. Biggest issue it has is no impervious, no invulnerable, none of the good immunity traits, or any at all. But that's what Bless is for. That's why you run Wand. Fix every issue anything has with a single wand. Need the enemy to not have traits or well, actually it doesn't get rid of traits, but need the enemy to not have status effects or submerge. Well, you just go use the curse part. Need your team to have immune to basically everything. You use the bless part as well as the better mana accumulation that it gives anyways. And you're good to go. Oh no, that's a problem. Though there is one good thing about that. It unfroze my first slot. Because you transformed the thing that was frozen. What a weird fight. Essence of Evil hard carry right there. Essence of Evil's kind of crazy. If you get lucky with the 10% and target Essence of Evil on something that isn't first slot, you basically get to full disable 2 troops with 1 cast, while getting mana accumulation that could potentially extra turn while also mana accumulating back to full mana. It's one of those utility weapons that early on in the game you definitely want to abuse a lot. Later in the game it loses a lot of its value though. It can still be used. Which is the problem with a lot of endgame teams is there's generally multiple ways to cleanse. But also, like one thing being disabled doesn't mean the end of the team. Like if our Stellarx gets disabled, we still have Takshaka. If our Takshaka gets disabled, well, it's just our mana accumulator, so we still have Stellarx. A little bit more annoying when a wand gets hit, but if it's truly an issue on a given battle, you could just run a stealthy hero class. Oh, Savage Hunter. I haven't been seeing too many of those. I still have no clue why they made that troop so strong. It's basically a mythic disguised as a rare. Its trait setup is absurd. How much skull damage it has. And it all stacks. Multiplicitly. Which means he's hitting for like 6 times skull damage, because he has a 2 times, a 2 times, and a 1.5 times. They all stack together. It becomes a 6 times multiplier. And because he's also enraged, that hits through traits. So not only is he 100% accurate, so you can't dodge it with agile or anything like that, or any score reduction, but even if you have bless, it'll still hit through it. Not only is he 100% accurate, unless you have like barrier or something up, but it is 6 times damage if every single parameter reaches, which a lot of times it does in the context that you're using it. It is an absurd amount of damage for a rare. 6 times damage per skull, effectively. And it hits through traits, so you can't even reduce it or anything. So our 30% reduction on Stellarix does nothing. Yeah, you can do it with SSEO. There's a lot of ways to build around it, depending on how you want to do it. Really comes down to preference. So early on in the game, you could build it around whatever you have. Yeah, also, hello, John. Welcome, welcome. King of Ravens and Grey King could definitely be annoying. Grey King's win rate for this kind of game mode is really good. Because when you're up against pure color team, you just, disable them all simultaneously. So it's really good in that inner ring area of blue, brown, and purple. But, yeah, King of Ravens, I don't feel like King of Ravens use as much unless you have to use it, like in a given restriction. It's definitely annoying, though, because it has some of the best mana drain, or chip mana drain in the entire game. Back in the day, you used to use Scion for that, but the modern day version of that is King of Ravens. Very high amount of chip, spell reduction, or mana reduction, I mean. Though still weaker than Scion, oddly enough. Because back in the day, immune to mana drain didn't exist. Back when Scion and Famine were at their highest. I think one of the funniest teams to ever exist, not necessarily strongest, but probably funniest that have been nerfed into the ground over the years, is Scion Famine team. It was Scion, I believe, Hero with mana accumulation, or whatever the mana accumulation at the time was. But it was Scion, Double Famine, Mana Accumulator. And that team was so crazy because Famine at the time had double Jinx. And at the time, you took a lot more 3 pairs in order to get full mana. So being able to completely reduce the amount of chances that you'll get any amount of extra turns from that. Or sorry, not extra turns, but Mana Surge, I mean. Was really, really good. But on top of that, there was no immune to mana drain at the time. So Scion could just keep taking all the mana. Famines was only 20 mana cost at the time, so you could just keep doing everything with that too. And yeah, it was a really annoying team. It lasted for a little while until Immune to Silence came into the game, and then it's like, oh, they're bad. And that was also around the time, because it got double nerfed, they also nerfed Famine to 24 mana cost, as well as, we get something else with them. Well, they got rid of Jinx. There was a third thing, I can't remember. They got rid of his Jinx trait. They increased his mana cost by 4. There was like one other thing they did. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, though. Hello, Twinosis. Yeah, Famine was really annoying to deal with. I think another one that got a lot of people to quit at the time was the Justice team back in the day. Back when gem spawning worked a bit differently than how it's coded now. Justice was basically infinite loop. And it paired really well with things that didn't really have a counter at the time. Because no immune to mana burn existed at the time, so Queen Mab was really good with it. So you'd build like a Justice team with Valkyrie, which was one of the only ways to gain souls in the entire game at the time. Combined with, what the other troop I just mentioned? Yeah, Queen Mab. And then just like one other thing. I think that was around the time when the initial hero things were coming out, so it was probably hero. There's been a couple different times that hero's gotten buffed. But that might have been a time when hero wasn't used. Because there was a good portion of time, like the first 3-4 years of the game, where hero actually wasn't that popular. So yeah, that actually would have been a time when hero wasn't around. I'm not sure what the option was then back then. Maybe it's just a second Justice or second Queen Mab now that I think about it. One or the other. Oh, I think I know what it was. I think it was Soothsayer. Soothsayer was Leprechaun before Leprechaun existed. Also, the one magic gain that it gave was a lot more effective back then because stats were so much lower. Compared to now where one magic is nearly zero magic. That was a lot more relevant back then. The stats were like 60, 70% lower. Still kind of crazy to this day he still only gives one magic. Not as weird as Lady Sapphira before they changed her during the Wayham rework last year or this year, whenever it was. Where they gave her, what was it? Where they ended up giving her a natural lifesteal. Because before she gained like 4 life to attack. Originally it was 5 life to attack, but that was too strong, so they had to nerf it by 1. But then several years later, like 9 years later, they're finally like, okay, yeah, we'll finally just give it a lifesteal. And of course, these days she's pretty irrelevant compared to being the highest lifestealer in the game back in the day. Which was really good for one-shotting things like, gosh, what was that one mech called from Carnex? From Adana. Because she was used a lot in Carnex teams. Or to counter Carnex teams. Because I believe that was around the time when Carnex was better than Gorgoltha. Because there was a time when Carnex was the Gorgoltha. Then there was a long period of time where Gorgoltha was the thing for like every single team. But originally it was Carnex. Mostly because stats were so low and the... actually, was its ability originally Explode Skulls? I don't remember. But assuming it was, it would have been pretty relevant. Because back then, stats were in like single digit, barely double digit. So being able to explode like a few skulls, pretty effective. It's just those exploded skulls is like half their HP bar already. Your 7 damage Goblin. Goblin back in the day was like the troop to run in early game. Nowadays there's so many boost ratio troops that we would use, of course. But way back in the day, running Goblin, since everyone guaranteed started with it during tutorial, was the play to do. Just because of its auto extra turn that it had. It was the first thing that has like a guarantee extra turn that the player would have ever gotten back then. I'm not sure if the current tutorial of the game still gives you a free Goblin. But back in the day, it was the first option you would ever get that has extra turn on it. So they tried getting people to go into the Goblin meta early. By giving them the Goblin right away. Obviously, a 4x Goblin team never uses normal Goblin. It teaches newer players about the mechanic. But it was used for chip damage quite a bit early on in the game. Just because there wasn't better options at the time. Nowadays, troops have to compete with things like Beatrix when they want to be a chip damage option, which is kind of insane. Like, because of how easy it is to get Beatrix, Beatrix is basically the bottom bar of what a chip damage troop is considered, despite being like one of the 20 strongest troops in the entire game. Which has made very little room for other things to exist. That's a problem with quite a few things in the current state of the game, I feel like, though. But Beatrix is basically the troop that ended all other chip damage troops. It just does it so amazingly well. And it can even be your primary damage source, it does it so well. Even though it's meant to just be a chip damage support troop. But it's so good at doing that that it's basically you're an entire team. Just give it mana and watch it go. Especially if you put 2 on the team. That was a bit of a miss, but luckily auto extra turned off of the ability. I keep forgetting Stellaryx even has that. But Stellaryx does have a chance to extra turn even when you don't get alignment. Like, honestly, even though we've used Stellaryx thousands upon thousands of times recently, I still keep forgetting that's a thing that exists. Also, I just realized something funny. I wonder if we're getting close. Because that's something I never really thought about. For the longest of longest times, you guys may notice that my most used troop, I think it still says it for Central here. My most used troop was Infernus. Because the most amount of battles we ever did was during Infernus. Back when that was meta, during Divine meta back in the day. Like, we're talking like 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. But we still have not used more battles with Takshaka yet. I mean, Stellaryx yet. I'm actually kind of surprised. But yeah, 9,235 fights with Infernus back during the Divine meta. Back when that was like the team to be running. And to this day, we have still never passed it. It was around the time we made the guild too. Because that was when they did the last very big PvP rework. It was back in like 2017, 2018, and it was around the time we made the guild as well. I just find that really funny because to this day, Infernus is still my most used troop. Not Stellaryx, not Wand, not Takshaka or anything. I don't even think Wand can be, it has to be a troop. But, yeah, it's still Infernus. Which is kind of funny because we haven't really used Infernus much in like 7 years. We do occasionally for a couple things, but Zolgoth basically replaced them in almost every situation. Which is a better burner. We also got many Infernus-like troops, some of which are actually better than Infernus. Well, not that many of them. They're just more unique, so generally you have a lot of other utilities that you can do depending on what you need for a team. Rather than the only default being just use Infernus every time. And of course, Divine Ishbala since then has been nerfed into the ground. As well as one of his other synergy troops, Ubistet. Oddly enough, Ubistet in recent years have been making a comeback. Even though they nerfed his boost ratio into the ground because he has a 6-to-1 instead of a 4-to-1 like he used to have. Attack values are just getting so high that he's basically doing a complete 180. Ubistet's actually starting to get really good recently. In the last couple of years. Because as its attack gets higher, he only gets better. So he just keeps scaling forever over time. It's one of the reasons why Rowan is still really relevant to this day. She just keeps scaling. His stats keep going higher. Not off your enemy, but, you know, just off of more stats coming into the game. Does Beatrix have a pet? No, Beatrix doesn't have a pet. None of the faction troops do. There's pets for, you know, the entirety of the faction, but no specific faction pet, or no specific faction troop has a faction pet. There's a faction-wide pet, but there's no pet specifically for a faction troop in the entire game. And I don't think they will be adding any. Also, remember when we were mentioning Beatrix earlier being an entire team? It's currently entire teaming us right now. No way. It actually got it. Remember what we mentioned earlier? Yeah, there it is. Gosh, Beatrix is something. It is definitely something. This is why we can't have weaker chip damage. This is the issue with a lot of things in the game. Like, how do you make a chip damager relevant when that's its competition? You basically get Beatrix for free for looking at the Deep Hive faction. If you simply just look at it, they just give you 3 copies of the thing. You throw down like a few hundred shards, which you can easily get in a week, and boom. Got your triple Beatrix. Which is closer to 1,000 or so, but still. You can easily get it in a week. Without spending any resources. Even from an early game perspective. And then you have something like that can carry you through the entire game. I'm curious how the Immortals will fit into that. As far as newer players. Because Immortals are kind of interesting in that they're really accessible for the most part. But the problem is a lot of them just aren't that good. Like, if you compare any of them to Beatrix, like 80% of them are weaker. Maybe even 90%. Depends on the context of the battle. If every faction legend had a pet, that would be kind of interesting, though I feel like that'd be a little broken on a couple of them. The couple of them being Beatrix. Of course, there's Truffle and other ones as well. Even Zachi would be not half bad. I think we have 1 minute left. Nope, it's over. Alright, where did we finish? I want to say 15k? Oh, 17k, not bad. Not leaderboard, but our goal was never to reach leaderboard to stream. It was just to go do the booster. Alright, here we are. I do kind of want to try for leaderboard potentially by the end of this week, as long as this number doesn't go over like 30,000 or something. So I'll keep chipping at it. But anyways, guys, I think that's everything. Tomorrow, actually, there's one thing I want to go open real quick. But tomorrow, we will be going, and very early on in the day, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will be covering, oh good, we'll have enough from the gold marks tomorrow to be able to get another 3 of these. But we will be covering the Mythic. Oh, nice, another purple deed book. That means within 5 rolls, we got 4 purple deed books. That's not too bad, because we did triple purple the other day, which was insane. He has 4 purples and 5 pulls. Pretty nice. Yeah, we'll be covering the Mythic as early as we can, hopefully tomorrow. It's a pretty interesting utility Mythic, so we'll see how that pans out. And yeah, we'll go from there. And of course, tomorrow night, same time as always, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hour and a half prior to now, we'll be messing with all the normal things, and probably primarily be messing around with the faction event. I don't think we're going to cover a separate video for the faction event this time around, but we will still do everything, of course, with the faction tomorrow night stream. And that'll be our game plan. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a wonderful weekend coming up, and I will see you guys soon. And best of luck if you're going to be trying for the Mythic, though. Do make sure to wait until reset time. Do not try opening them now. You still got to wait. Actually, where's the timer? You got to wait until this thing ticks over. Timer. Do we not have any of the concise timers? It's like 5 hours something minutes, but you know when it is. Oh, there it is. 5 hours and 31 minutes from now. You'll be able to go for it. Just make sure you restart the game. But anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone. And thanks for watching.